And Mr. Murphy is recognized.
Thank you very much. With all due respect to Mr. Griffin's comments, that's just not true. It's just not true. The American people cannot find out all of the political donations being made by an individual or a corporation. They can certainly find out the donations that are being made to individual candidates. But as we have seen in recent elections, a growing amount of spending and electoral influence is not being done through disclosable contributions to candidates. It's being done through shadowy 527 organizations with absolutely no transparency. Now listen, we hope that political donations are not having an effect on decisions made in Congress or a federal agency. We hope that's the case. But our constituents want to know who donates to us so they can just make sure. And that should be the exact same standard when it comes to the administration. That our constituents hope that donations to 527s to try to influence a contract one way or another, try to influence a decision of the State Department one way or another, aren't having an effect on the decision. But they can't know that if they don't have the information at their fingertips. We've come a very long way in this country to the point where my friends on the other side of the aisle now refer to disclosure as intimidation or manipulation or an attempt to politicize donations. Transparency is the bedrock of this nation. Transparency is what allows our constituents to judge whether companies are getting fair treatment. And it is just not right to say that they can see every donation that is attempting to manipulate a decision on a federal contract. They cannot. And I fear that increasingly contributions are going to disappear from the public eye because with Citizens United, major donors and major corporations have figured it out, that they have a way around transparency, that they have a way to hide their influence in the process. And so when we're looking at a major decision being made by an agency, it's possible that bidders are going to put lots and lots of ads on the air on both sides, and nobody's going to know who paid for them. And this is absolutely in the end about transparency. It has nothing to do with intimidation. This has to do with giving our constituents, not giving contractors or contract personnel the information. It's about giving our constituents the personnel so that they can make sure that we're doing what we say we're going to do. And with that, I'd be glad to yield to Mr. Deutch.
Mr. Deutch?
I thank my colleague. Looking through the specific list of what this amendment prohibits and how it impacts transparency, any payment consisting of a contribution, I acknowledge that if any of these companies who wish to do business with the government make a contribution through a political action committee to any member of Congress, that is disclosed. However, any other expenditure, independent expenditure, disbursement for an electioneering communication made by that entity, or any of its affiliates, or subsidiaries to a candidate for election for federal office, or to a political committee, or that is otherwise made with respect to any election. My colleague is exactly right. If people want to find out what contributions are being made, what money corporations are spending to influence elections, the amendment sponsor is incorrect to say that they can.
Will the gentleman yield?
Because they cannot. I will not yield until I'm finished. And I would also respond to my friend from Florida. What is it that we want to encourage? Do we want to encourage? We have a choice to make. Do we want to encourage? Is it our goal to encourage corporations to participate to the maximum extent possible in our electoral process with no accountability and with no disclosure in order to influence the outcome of elections? Or do we want to encourage the citizens of this country to have faith enough in our system to know, to believe deeply that corporations, as a result of Citizens United, are not influencing the outcome of elections without any accountability, without disclosure? This amendment is another step toward preventing that accountability and preventing that disclosure, and I yield to Mr. Griffin.
Madam Chair, since I only have 9 seconds.
Thank you, but it's
Oh,
not Mr. Deutsch's time to yield. It's
I yield back.
Mr. Murphy, and the time is over anyway. So I thank the gentleman. Mr. Duncan is recognized.
I'd like to yield a few seconds to Ms. Burkle.
Ms. Burkle is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. I thank the gentleman. I just want to commend Mr. Griffith on this amendment. I think it's the right way to go. And I agree with him that if citizens are interested in finding out where we receive our contributions from, they can go, those sites are available and that information is available. With that, I yield to Mr. Duncan.
Mr. Duncan.
I reclaim my time, and I yield the balance to the gentleman from Arkansas.
I would say this, just to clarify. Yes, there are certain expenditures by individuals and corporations that cannot be gleaned from websites or from public information. I get that. If you want to fix that, that's a debate that we can have, and you can introduce legislation to fix that. That's not what this is about. That is a much, much broader issue that goes to disclosure beyond the contracting realm. I totally get that. That's not what this is about. This is about contractors specifically trying to do something, require something for contractors that is not required anywhere else. If you want to change the law everywhere else, go ahead. Propose something on that. I would point out that Mr. Meeks of this committee, Representative Meeks, Representative Chandler, Representative Conley, have all supported this repeatedly on the floor. Your whip supports it. This is a bipartisan deal, and would love to have them weigh in if they want to weigh in on this. But the bottom line is, this is you can try to make this about things that changes in the law that you've not been able to get through other means, but that's not what this is about. This is about contractors. That is simply the focus of this. As I said, this has already passed 4 times on the floor with a lot of Democrat support. I yield back.
I reclaim my time and yield time to Mr. Mack.
Mr. Mack is recognized.
Thank you. And again, you know, I didn't hear an answer as to why this information is needed. It's not that it's secret. It's not secret. But why does someone need? What's wrong with people participating in our democracy? I mean, it's almost like you're saying that it's bad. It's bad to participate in this democracy. And I also might note that the gentleman spoke a lot about corporations, but failed to mention unions as well. So you know, you don't act like this is your problem. Should be, in your case, not mine, with unions and corporations, but you fail to mention the union's participation. I would suggest to the members to support Mr. Griffin's amendment. This is a good amendment. This says to the people of America, we want you to participate in our election process. We want you to stand up and have your voice heard. We want you to participate. What this amendment also says is we don't think that intimidation should be used to try to force behavior on people because of a contribution that may be made to one person or another. And with that, I yield back to the gentleman.
Thank you. And I would go further to say that it also encourages folks to get involved in contracting with the federal government without fear of retribution because of who they support politically. And so I appreciate the gentleman's comments from Florida. And Madam Chairman, I'll yield back the balance of my time.